Hey y'all, what's up? My name is Shelby and welcome back to Seeds to Garden. On today's video, I'm going to be walking you through a step-by-step tutorial on how to create your own raised bed gardens on your homestead. They're going to be a little different than what we have currently down in our garden, but the one perk that I really wanted to kind of emphasize to you guys is that these raised beds that we'll be building are going to be a $30 raised bed. I know that sounds insane with the way that lumber prices are at the moment, but it is indeed a $30 raised bed garden, and it is fully cedar wood, which is just another great step when creating raised bed gardens. Cedar wood is naturally mold, mildew, rot resistant, and there is no added chemicals or worries about pressure treated or anything like that that would get into your food source. I can't take full credit for this idea. We did find it through another TikTok homesteader that we follow. So let's take a step here. I'll show you all of the supplies that I purchased. I got them from my local Lowe's, and I'm going to walk you through a step-by-step on how I build these. Essentially what we're using are cedar picket fence pieces. So they are 1 inch by 5.5 by 6 foot long cedar fence picket pieces individually. We're also using some untreated furrowing strips. So what you're going to need is 2 of the untreated furrowing strips, as well as 6 pieces of the cedar kiln dried dog ear picket fence pieces. So you'll see, I'm going to show you here. We went to get our local supply, and so I have enough to make about 5 raised beds between the furrowing strips and the cedar planks. So let's get these unloaded, and then I will walk you through how I'm going to make these. Okay, so we got everything unloaded. The other thing that you're going to need to be able to create these, you're going to need a drill, some kind of saw to be able to cut your wood. I recommend a square so that you can cut a straight line, and some wood screws. So basically I have 30 boards of the cedar dog ear picket fence. Again, these are 1 inch by 5.5 by 6 foot long. And then we have 10 of the furrowing strips, 2 by 2 by 6. And what we're going to do is we're going to cut down the furrowing strips to use as our braces on the sides. I may also keep some of them long to come out of the top of it to be able to either wrap netting around it to keep bugs and pests away, or be able to put some kind of plastic wrap over it. We might be able to do some kind of winter sewing, or if there's a frost that sneaks up on us, I can put our plants in there. So that's kind of the plan with it, but I will walk you through this step by step. But basically the bare minimum for one raised bed, you need 2 furrowing strips or 6 cedar boards, and we're going to cut them all down to about a 3 by 6 foot bed. Each one of these individual cedar boards is $3.89 at your local Lowe's, or at least mine was. And the furrowing strips, I think, were about $2 a piece. So if you work out that math, it turns out to about $30 per raised bed, which in this economy is a steal, especially with cedar woods. And I might do a few extra things just to get it a little bit sturdier, but you should be able to do all of this with just the bare minimum. Just watch how much soil you're putting in it so that you don't bow out of the raised beds. So let's get started. I'm excited. Okay, so the first thing that you want to do, you want to lay out both of your boards. That's going to be one side of our 6 foot bed. We're going to get another board and we're going to cut that one in half. That'll be our ends. So there'll be a 6 by 3 foot. And we're going to use the furrowing strips to piece everything together and be our end corners. So let's get started. One last thing I forgot to mention, you're going to need a tape measure. good rule of thumb: measure twice, cut once. Safety first. So that's 2 pieces of 3 foot each. They'll go on each end of our raised bed. So 5.5 and 5.5 is 11 inches. We're gonna get 2 11-inch pieces, and then we're gonna have the end pieces, which I haven't quite decided how long I wanna make those yet. I'm gonna see how much I have left over, but I'm gonna keep them a little longer so that we have the ability to wrap some kind of netting or plastic if absolutely necessary. That is our supports for in the middle. So now I'm going to measure the board, find the middle, and that's where I'm going to screw these. That's pretty good. I just sat that down at the perfect middle. Let's get it screwed in. So I have about 74 inches left on my support strip, so I'm going to cut it in half. That'll be about 37 inches, and those are going to be all of my corners. I am going to change the design a little bit just to fit my personal preference from what I saw the woman did on TikTok, but what I'm going to do is I'm still going to leave some extra on the top, but I'm also going to leave a little extra on the bottom so that I can actually sink the bed into the ground a little bit, just give it a little bit more support. So let's get this piece cut and get the rest of this side put together, and we'll keep on moving here. So the picket fences that I got are dog ear shaped at the end, so they kind of taper in on one side, and they don't do that on the other side, obviously. It's just for the tip top of the fence. So one thing I would say is make sure you put the same size sides together, so dog ear and the flat side on the other side, so that way everything lines up flush. I'm just going to screw in the last section over here and we'll have one side done. So one side done. I think one other thing I might do on my next two is take in for the account of a little extra in the middle there, so that way I can also have a post down for that as well. Maybe I'll just take 2 inches or an inch off of each side and add it to that middle part so that way it doesn't bow out in the middle. But for our first side, I'm liking how it's turning out. All right, 2 pieces done. There you go. That's 1 raised bed done. 4 more to go. We'll check back though. Alright, so we've got 2 done so far. Each one's a little different than the last, but they're all 3 by 6. The only difference is the center pieces here. I actually made them different lengths to be able to go into the ground at different lengths. But other than that, they're coming out pretty good. So we've got 2 done, working on my 3rd. Let's get her done. So I have 1 side done, working on the 2nd side for our 3rd bed. You'll see I finally have it figured out here that we're going to have 5 inches to sink into the ground on each side, and the rest will be overhang. We still have all this to cut yet, so I'm going to finish cutting that up and finish building the rest of the beds. In this part of the video, I'm just looking over all of the cedar pieces of wood that I have left to choose which ones I was going to cut up for the sides, and that's simply because I didn't want any of the long pieces that had any kind of abnormalities or defects or breaks to be used on the long sides, just in case it would cause a weak point and cause that board to break. So by choosing the worst of the woods to cut on the ends that have less pressure, my hope would be that it would prolong the life expectancy of these beds. So you'll see in this video that I decided to cut all of the pieces that I needed for the cedar on the sides, and for your own benefit that is at 3 foot so that they're directly in half. And then I proceeded to cut the braces, and for those I decided to cut some 14-inch pieces off of each one, which left me with 80 inches, and then I split that in half into 40-inch pieces so that they could have for each leg. So the 14-inch piece is for the middle, and it allows for about 5 inches of overhang on the bottom to be able to push that into the ground for extra support. So now that I have everything cut, I'll start piecing everything together. interrupt your normal viewing for this update on these beautiful seedlings. Just look how good these babes are doing now. And we did bring the lettuce out so that it can start getting hardened off. This looks so good, ready to eat. We did take a little damage on our plants a little bit yesterday. We had some kind of freak hailstorm. So by the time I got down here to help get them inside, they did take a little bit of damage. So, but these guys will be fine. They'll bounce right back. So no issues there. But yeah, look how nice they're doing. So I figured I would take a time out as well, just to let you guys know. I did end up having to run out to get more screws. I was just using what we had in the house, but now that we ran out of screws, I'll let you guys know what I'm using. I'm using Outdoor, it's called Deccan Plus, but it doesn't really matter what your brand is. They're 8 by 1 5/8. Those are the size that I would recommend. I was using 2 by 8s, but they're just a tad bit long, so if you went a little too far, it would poke out the other side. I would be careful too, just in general, giving you a note here from experience. My cedar boards were pretty soft, so I found that I had to go pretty slow with the drill towards the end. Otherwise, I had the potential of going directly through the entire board. So make sure that you don't go drill happy and go right through the board. Yeah, so we're using 8 and 1 5/8, and that seems to be the sweet spot. Hey y'all. So I wanted to give you guys an update. So we did finish. We have 5 raised beds. They are all cedar beds. They're all 3 by 6. They all have the high trellis to them so that we can always add either a trellis to the back, we can add some netting, we can add plastic, we can do whatever we need to do. I'm really super excited to get these in the ground. We're going to have to go get some dirt for them, so that won't be in tonight's video, but probably in the next day or so. Tomorrow it's supposed to rain, so probably the next nice day that we have, we'll go get some soil. We'll fill these guys with soil, because we've got lots of plants that are waiting to come out, and I'm super excited to get planting with all this new growing space. So I will be sure to give you an update of where all these are going, as well as what we're planting in them as soon as we get there. But because it's getting so late, guys, I'm going to sign off. So I really hope that this helped you guys. It's super simple, super easy, budget friendly, and comment if you have any questions or anything, and I can help you as best I can. But until next time, thanks so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next video. Bye.